Hello, everyone, and I'm really happy today to be with you and with Professor Zage in the episode number one in Tea with ATA.
Well, thank you, Dr. Ahmed, for inviting me, and I'm very happy to be here to join you in our initial broadcast.
The pleasure is ours, Professor Zage. Thank you so much. And today's question is from Sarah. I'm working as an accountant. How do I motivate myself in a routine job?
Sarah, before we get into a lot of thoughts on how to do things, let me just make a comment to you that there are no routine jobs. The fact that you are an accountant means that you have a special set of skills, the ability to do things that not everybody else can do. I can't do accounting. Dr. Ahmed can't do accounting. You can. And so that means it's not really a routine job. It seems routine to you because you're qualified for it and you do it and it's easy for you to do. But let's start there and remember that it's not a routine job that anybody can do.
Wow, I totally agree with you, Professor Zage, because even if we both are teaching accounting and leadership and management, but everyone have this gift of doing their job uniquely. So an accountant, they are really talented in those daily activities and daily tasks, and they have this talent as well. So it's important for them to set the goals, I think, on a daily and weekly and even monthly basis, because this will motivate them to exactly remember why they were in the beginning in this job, And thank you so much for being with us today to share your thoughts. So let me know more about your opinion about like goals and connecting with the routine work in this fast-paced life. Thank you.
Well, I think one of the things that's important in setting goals, especially at work, because you already feel that this is a routine job, and it's not. But I think one of the things that used to work well for me was to make it a game. I would set my goals first, and then the game would be to see how many of them I can reach each day. With any project that you do, there's a long-range goal that's way out there somewhere. But in order to get there, there's steps that you have to follow day by day, whatever it is. And if you have this game in front of you where you're trying to reach a goal every day, then you kind of know where you're at, whether you've made it or you haven't made it. And so the game becomes to reach that goal each day.
Wow, it's like you are adding a taste of adventure to your daily activities. I love that. Thank you. That's really smart. So I also feel like having a purpose, like understanding the why behind your actions, is always giving you this type of energy, motivation, positive vibes to keep moving forward on a daily basis. So how do you feel about that? And if you even would like to add more points to this point, thank you.
Well, I think as we look at this finding purpose, part of that goes back to the goal setting, but especially in this position, in a job as an accountant, you're working with numbers and statistics all the time. Use those statistics to show your contribution to the corporation. How many audits have you done? How many other reports have you done? How long does it take you to do them? You've got the numbers, you've got the statistics, you work with them, create that report, and if nothing else, it allows you to see the kind of contribution that you make on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis. The organization can't work without all those contributions. And so use those statistics to solidify that feeling that you're really doing something that's helping the company.
Wow, that's really bringing me to this point of even focusing on self-development and growing the skills and competences, because for an accountant, they really need right now to think about the new innovation and the AI that's coming, and a lot of things are changing so quickly. So in order for them to stay competitive, it's very important for them to be coping with the trends, So what's your perspective on this point?
Well, I think when we look at growth, and especially in a position like this, one of the things that you want to do, obviously, like you said, is to keep up with what's going on, focus on the new things that are coming out. But here's the opportunity to try those new things, try those new programs, try a different method of doing something. If it works, that's wonderful. If it doesn't work, you've learned something from it. And that too is part of what you're dealing with when you talk about growing in your job, is learning more. You'll learn what works and what doesn't work. That's the key here.
Wow, it's like you are telling us to challenge our status quo, is to try new things, is to explore more and more. So I love that. Wow, that's really nice. What's your perspective about like staying organized when you have all of those things on your table? Like, how do you feel this will help in breaking up the routine?
Personal organization is one of the most important skills that you can have in any position. If you're not organized, if you can't find the things you need when you need them, if you can't get the things you need when you want them, that's going to be a problem that's going to set you back, and you're never going to be as efficient as you should be. So being organized is a big help. Now, that's not always easy to do. It's much easier sometimes to do things. I used to have my own set of organizations, and my wife called it the pile thing, because I'd have a pile of this here and a pile of this here and a pile of this here. I knew what was there. I knew what was in it. That's the important thing, is that you're organized enough to know where your things are.
Wow. So it's all about like being organized and setting the priorities so you don't miss anything. Wow, that's really nice. I think also it's important for us to celebrate success because a lot of people will just achieve, but they forget to reward themselves. So how do you see that, Professor Zage?
I think we all have to recognize that when we're successful on something, it's not bragging. You succeeded, you did something, that was great. Take some time and reward yourself. It doesn't have to be something big. Maybe it's a special coffee at Starbucks that you want, or it's a special outfit or pants or shirt or whatever that you've been looking for. Reward yourself, because even if it doesn't come from the corporation, you need to personally know that you were successful, that you achieved a goal, that you did something. Reward yourself for that. Doesn't have to be something big, but make sure that it's something that is worth earning for that goal.
Wow, I agree with you. Like even small achievements, but when you reward yourself and you take a break, you will recharge your battery, and you will break the routine. You will motivate yourself more and more. So I love that. It gives you this balance, you know.
It's important to have that balance for sure. Um, Doing things outside of work helps you to clear your mind. Oftentimes, when I would have something difficult at work, I'd be out doing something else, and the answer would come to me. It was like, okay, it was because I was able to be clear and think more about it differently. When you're clear, when you're relaxed, you oftentimes think better than other things. And so I think that finding that balance is important. It lets you channel some of those other issues somewhere else and takes it away from work. It's a big help to being able to be more efficient and be better at what you do.
Wow, wow. I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. So also what I can see, I see that people who have this visualization for success and for happy life, where they have more achievements and they are growing, are more able to cope with the routine and to overcome even those negative feelings, when it's like tough or challenging. So how do you see that? Like, how do you see like the visionary part is playing a role in breaking the routine?
Well, I think a lot of this goes back to setting your daily goal. If you can visualize what that daily goal is, then you know what you're trying to achieve and you know why. You know what step that is in the process. And so when you can visualize that success, you know when you've achieved it. If you can't visualize the success, you never know whether you've achieved it or not. It's kind of like an old story where if you're looking at two teams that are playing a baseball game and they give you the score for one team, well, you don't know if that's good or bad. You have to visualize the success of having more runs than the other team did. And until you can do that, until you can visualize the fact that you have been successful, then you know that you're on track to meet your goals and do that. But if you don't know what success means, if you can't visualize it, you never know whether you're winning or you're losing.
Yeah, true. You need to compare this to another, scores to know if you won or lose or you are in draw. Like you need always to have this other perspective to give you the full picture. You are right. You're right. I totally agree with you. So another thing I always feel like it's connecting with your colleagues in a way that's very positive. Like each of you are supporting each other, because I always feel like this will also add this feeling of energy into your day. Like it's not only about work routine. It's more about like you are connecting with your colleagues. You are supporting each other. You are even having this business relationship that can grow day over day and day after day. So how do you feel about this type of support right now, especially that a lot of people are working like from home and a lot of people are not having this daily interaction. So how do you feel that? Thank you.
I think one of the most important things in connecting with colleagues is it gives you an outlet to express what you're feeling. I used to bring my team together on a monthly basis, and I would have what I would call a gripe meeting. And the idea was to let them all come in and just gripe about anything, complain about anything. We would obviously try and solve those things, but it also was a way of letting other people at the table know that they had the same things. They were frustrated by the same ideas, that they aren't alone. And when you can connect with other people, especially your colleagues at work, then you know you're not alone. You know that you're working together to solve problems and to make things work better. But the more connections that you have, the more feelings of success you will have, because you know that you're working together to visualize and ultimately reach that final goal.
Well, and I think it's leadership when you are admitting your worries. It's a strength because even if you are admitting it, you are helping others to know and feel that it's normal. We are human being. So for me, I also have this memorable thing in my mind when I was doing the doctorate degree. Like when my mentor was saying like she faced the same like challenges on writing the dissertation. I said, okay, now, thanks God, she was there and she got her doctorate. So now I can go into the same busway and I can do my best. And finally, I got it. And now when I'm talking with my students or when I'm mentoring someone, I always say, don't worry, I was there before and it's really tough. But let's see how can we overcome this challenge together. And that's the best part of life, that we are admitting that sometimes it's tough, sometimes it's hard, and we get our strength from supporting each other. So I love this point. Thank you so much, Professor Zage. And let me recap some of the things that we talked about and see if you'd like to add anything else. So we talked about setting goals and finding a purpose. We talked about focusing on growth and personal development. We talked about challenging the status quo and staying organized. You told you told us celebrating success, staying positive, taking breaks, and finding this balance and having the full picture with visualizing success and connecting with colleagues. So how do you see feedback also in this journey?
Well, let me just add one kind of last thought here.
Please.
Many years ago, a gentleman named John Donne wrote a poem, and the poem was that no man is an island. And the first stanza of the poem talks about no man is an island unto himself. We are all a part of the whole, a piece of the whole thing. And just keeping that in mind helps to remind you that we are a piece of a puzzle. And in your organization, you are a piece of the puzzle. And the puzzle will never be complete if you are not there. And so that's what this is all about, is your part of being that puzzle and your part of completing that makes it whole. That's an important piece for us all to remember.
Wow. So it's always important to complete also by seeking feedback, by working on the weaknesses or working on the areas for improvement, I can say. And by this, we are completing the puzzle. So by being
Correct.
open to others' opinion as well. Wow.
That's
That's amazing,
correct.
Professor Deitch. And let me thank you so much for your valuable time today. And today we were in episode number 1. He was ETA. And it's a pleasure to continue the journey.
Well, thank you, Dr. Ahmed, for having me here and allowing me to share some of my thoughts.
Thank you. See you next week.